Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. Well, expressing frustration about crime and violence, County Executive Angela Alsobrooks announces a new program today. It's called the Hope in Action Anti-Violence Project. It will involve nonprofit groups that provide services for youth and ex-offenders.
I am just so upset about it and concerned about the people in our community who have been victimized. I am likewise concerned about the future of our children. We know that there are two ways we do this. We invest in our young people, and today is to talk once again about the very heavy investments that we are making in our young people.
The Office of Community Relations is leading the project. Well, masks are finally off in Prince George's County. The indoor face covering mandate is lifted starting today. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks announced last week that it's due to improving transmission rates. While the mandate is over, a District Heights business owner tells CTV News that she still has concerns.
I prefer wear the masks. The reason is a shop like that, sometimes customers come in and talking on the phone without the mask. I feel uncomfortable.
And the University of Maryland lifts its indoor mask mandate as well today, although KN95 masks will still be required in all classrooms. But masks won't be required in dining halls, dorms, or athletic events. The new guidelines also lift mask requirements in gyms and libraries. They will continue to be required on all public transportation, as well as the University Health Center and COVID-19 testing locations. The announcement comes after UMD saw 43 positive COVID cases from on-campus testing on February 17th. It's hard to believe, but it has been 2 years since the first COVID death in the U.S. It happened in Washington State on February 29, 2020. Since then, some 948,000 people have died of the virus in the U.S., but with the Omicron variant quickly receding, the number of cases and hospitalizations continue to decline. COVID restrictions are being eased, but people say it's not time to get back to normal yet.
Do you feel like the pandemic is over?
No.
Why do you say that, sir?
I think it'll be around for a minute, but it's getting better. That's my opinion.
Things are getting back slowly, but I don't think it's time to lift the mask quick. But I think we still should wear the mask.
As for Maryland, the state has identified 389 new cases. The county's positivity rate, which was above 36% in January, has fallen below 2%. 3 Marylanders have died of COVID since the last numbers came out. And for the first time since peaking just below 3,500 in January, hospitalizations are below 400. Well, as the war in Ukraine intensifies here at home, Governor Larry Hogan attends a Ukrainian church this morning. Hogan took part in a special prayer service at the St. Michael's the Archangel Catholic Church in Baltimore City today. Hogan says that Marylanders, quote, stand with the brave, proud people of Ukraine. Meantime, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow is warning Americans to consider leaving Russia immediately. Officials say there are a limited number of commercial flights into and out of the country. The State Department has placed a level 4 do not travel advisory for Russia. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, environmental advocates say the time is now to pass a climate bill in Maryland, and they say the sense of urgency has a lot to do with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We'll have the details up next. Stay with us.
1 in 365 African Americans battle sickle cell disease. I was one of them. Life back then was painful. I was in and out of the hospital and had frequent pain crises. A blood stem cell transplant is the only cure for sickle cell disease. I was fortunate to find a perfect match in my younger sister, but many patients do not have a compatible donor in their families, and Black patients have only a 23% chance of finding an unrelated donor. More Black donors are urgently needed to help save lives. It only takes a simple cheek swab to join the Be the Match registry. Learn more about becoming a donor and access free patient resources by visiting endsicklecell.org today. You or someone you know could be the cure for a patient battling sickle cell, like me.
What's more dangerous? A man who isn't afraid of death or one who's found everything to live for? I asked him if he was proud of me. He emphatically said yes, as he laid his pecan-colored head on my chest, and I went through my mind 1,000 times to figure out what that could possibly mean, and every single example ended in motivation for me. So you may not be afraid to die, but I'm more afraid to let them down. And I found something to live for, which is a dangerous motive forever fueled. See, your thoughts may be involuntary, but my actions are very calculated. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. My sons ain't raised by no coward, and they won't be one either. If this be the measure of a man, the yardstick gonna need way more meters. I take it too far, so they never come up short, because I found everything to live for.
Welcome back. Prince George's police are investigating 2 homicides over the weekend. Investigators say a man was found shot to death Sunday in the bathroom of an apartment in the 3800 block of St. Barnabas Road in the Suitland area. The other shooting happened Saturday night in the 3700 block of Dunlap Street in Temple Hills. The victim was 71-year-old Abdul Rauf Khan of Springfield, Virginia. Investigators say he was operating as a Lyft driver when someone shot him and then took his vehicle.
What we do know is a affair originated in D.C. with some occupants that ended with the death of Mr. Khan in Prince George's County. The facts surrounding that remains open for us. We're examining, investigating all avenues to what that actually was.
Khan died a few hours later in a hospital. Anyone with information about the deadly crimes is asked to contact police. Meantime, a pedestrian is struck and killed by a car in College Park. It happened yesterday morning at Baltimore Avenue near Queen Anne Avenue. Maryland State Police say the victim is a woman, but have yet to identify her. The driver remained on the scene of the crash, and no charges have been filed at this time. Well, top environmental leaders in Maryland are urging the General Assembly to pass climate change legislation this year. A coalition says the need is urgent, particularly in light of today's new United Nations report and gas prices surging after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
This morning, the United Nations released a new report saying we have a, quote, rapidly closing window to avert a hotter, deadly future. At the same time, we all know that Russia has invaded Ukraine, sending gas prices skyrocketing. The Climate Solutions Now Act in the Maryland Senate, SB 528, actually addresses both of these problems. By solving climate change, we need to convert to electric systems for hot water and for home heating. And at the same time, this reduces our dependency on gas. And it's an interconnected global market for natural gas. So if we want to avoid rising gas prices and rising temperatures on this planet, we need to pass the Climate Solutions Now bill in Annapolis.
The Climate Solutions Now Act includes an additional 40% reduction of current greenhouse gas emissions in the state by the year 2030. It also includes a program to retrofit older buildings from gas to electric and would mandate that all newly constructed buildings be fully electric for heating and hot water starting in 2024. A bill that would let voters decide whether to legalize marijuana in Maryland is now headed to the Senate. HB 1 passed the House on Friday by a vote of 96 to 34. If it makes it through the Senate chamber, voters could see the question on the 2022 general election ballot. The measure is sponsored by the chair of the House Judiciary Committee.
We stand here today as a body to begin the process to take these first steps to legalizing cannabis, to looking next year to see how the regulatory part would work, how the taxation part would work, but taking the important first steps now in the areas of public safety and public health.
A separate measure, HB 837, also passed the House. That bill would study the racial impacts of cannabis legalization and create a public health fund. It would also alter civil and criminal penalties and create a process of expungement for possession of the drug. Still ahead here on CTV News tonight, local leaders honor the late Tuskegee Airman General Charles Mcgee. Stay tuned.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, a shooting in Germantown leaves 2 people dead today. It occurred at the 18,900 block of High Stream Drive about 9 this morning. When police arrived, they found a man and woman in a parking lot suffering from gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead on the scene. A new online portal aims to increase transparency for the Comptroller's office. Comptroller Peter Franchot has launched the new Maryland Vendor Information Electronic Warehouse. The new platform will allow users to see exactly when and how much the state has paid subprime contractors. Now, Franchot says the vendor portal will help the state's small business community. For more information on how to access the platform, you can visit the Comptroller's website. A special ceremony was held this morning in Silver Spring. It was in honor of the late Charles Mcgee, a Tuskegee Airman and longtime resident of Montgomery County. Today, County Executive Mark Elridge signed an executive order that will rename the Silver Spring Library to the Brigadier General Charles E. Mcgee Library. The Tuskegee Airmen flew combat missions during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Growing up before Google, the library was where our parents took us to find answers and to expand our thinking. It was a place of solace to focus and study, and that never changed. Dad read all types of things. He liked fiction, nonfiction, magazines, newspaper. He read all the time. Our house over the years began looking a little bit like a library itself, except not so neat and organized.
Mcgee passed away last month at the age of 102. Well, let's get a quick check now on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with lows around 30 degrees. Tuesday, mostly sunny, highs near 57. Wednesday, sunny with even higher temperatures around 61. And Thursday, sunshine, highs near 53. And for your community calendar, kick off Women's History Month at the College Park Aviation Museum. This coming Saturday, the museum will host a Women in Aviation event. The event begins at 1 p.m. For more information, call 301-864-5316. And that is your CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great night.
My grandfather was a case in that study. He worked as a firefighter where the Tuskegee Airmen trained. He and I were phenomenally close. The syphilis study happened for 40 years. Penicillin was found to be the most effective treatment, but the men were denied the treatment. Interestingly enough, I've had someone tell me that they were concerned about getting the vaccine because of the syphilis study. And I always try to educate or provide some information about what happened. But then I said, you're talking about something that happened to my family. And I've taken both of my vaccines. I'm doing this for them. Health is greater than wealth, and it's really up to us to take ownership of our health and this story.